Welcome in. Welcome in. The first NFL Sunday is done. The first NFL Sunday is over. Woo! Man. How is everybody doing today? How is everybody doing today? Boy, we got a lot to talk about. My gosh, do we have a lot to talk about. So I was thinking last night, and nostalgia is something that gets everybody excited. I've talked about this. We have the Nostalgia series, which I've got more episodes coming up for the days that I, won't be around when I'm on vacation and whatnot. But there is nothing better than a hard-fought, well-played game on both sides of the field, diamond, or court, or even the rink for ice. When you have two top teams battling it out, regardless of where it's at, what stage of the season it's at, what the circumstances are. When you have two teams that are battling it out, leaving everything on the line, you can't help but love the sport even more. You fall in love with it all over again. And in week number 1, the Buffalo Bills, my Super Bowl pick, just had to throw that in there, capped an absolutely amazing comeback. It's not the most dramatic comeback of all time by any means. I remember the Buccaneers with the Colts. I was watching that Monday Night Football game as a kid. They were getting roasted. I was crying. Not going to lie, I was a kid at the time. They were getting roasted. I was just sitting there. I was so upset because everybody was injured on the Colts. And they came back, obviously, and won. New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. The Indianapolis Colts in the AFC Championship game. It may not have been the most dramatic comeback, but gosh darn was it the best exclamation point to put on a Sunday. I have great news. Number 1, I did not wake everybody up last night. I did walk outside and do the short, like I said. I did walk outside because, woo! Wow. It was a weekend. It really was. It was one heck of a weekend. And the way that the Bills game played out, the Baltimore Ravens were rolling. The Baltimore Ravens were absolutely rolling. This was not a game where it really felt like it could go either way. None of this felt like it could go either way. I'm sitting there and I'm watching the third quarter play out, and Lamar Jackson makes a miraculous scramble when I thought the Bills really had everything set up. Joey Bosa's back there. Rousseau's back there. Jackson escapes somehow. Twirls and dirls and twists, and all of a sudden, it's a first down. Gain of 25 yards. Derrick Henry really couldn't be stopped all night long. And yet, even though, and Josh Allen called it out, and you know what? Buffalo fans will apologize to Josh Allen. Josh Allen was gracious in calling them out, but even he said, yeah, I know some fans left, but listen, have a little faith. The Buffalo Bills looked the part. The Baltimore Ravens looked the part. If this is our AFC Championship game, we are in for one heck of a game that could outdo the Super Bowl. I will watch the Bills and Ravens every single week if I could. What a game. 2 MVP talents. I stand by everything I have said. Josh Allen is the best football player in the country. Did you see the poise? No panic. He didn't even get frazzled. He wasn't making overthrows. In fact, he was down in the second half, and it seemed to calm him down. Like, okay, let's just get some of these completions. Let's just be okay with this. Let's just one step at a time. Move the chains here. Oh, man. All right. So what do the numbers say? What are some of the numbers? Let's start with the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, very decent game. 14 of 19, 209 yards, 2 touchdown passes. They did have 2 sacks allowed. So Buffalo's defense got to them. Running, though, Derrick Henry, 18 carries, 169 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, 6 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Then we had Zay Flowers, Rasheem Ali, and Justice Hill. Justice Hill didn't do great at all. But total, the Baltimore Ravens had 238 rushing yards on 29 carries. Wow. Now, flip it to the other side. Josh Allen, 33 of 46, 394 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The Bills had 1 sack allowed. James Cook, 13 carries, 44 yards. Josh Allen, 14 carries, 30 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ty Johnson, 2 for 24. Elijah Moore and Ray Davis threw in a run each. Total, it was 31 rushes for 108 yards. Now, that will have to be better in the future. So let's go negative before we go positive. Number 1 for the Bills, the running game is going to have to be better. You were playing a stout Ravens defense, and you did have timely runs when needed, especially in the second half. So I will give them that credit. They did have some timely runs when needed in the second half. But that will absolutely have to be cleaned up. The offensive line played outstanding football. Spencer Brown is a very underrated right tackle, and Deion Dawkins is an absolute stud at left tackle. That offensive line is cohesive, and it works. For the Ravens, you may have to get a little bit better with your play design, Ravens. I know they were winning and they were able to run the ball, but did you notice that every time he dropped back to pass, a lot of the passing plays were off of really just waiting around? It was a lot of wait. I mean, there were a lot of 5 seconds. The Bills were rushing as hard as they could. Couldn't get there all the time, where Jackson would just slight the pressure, a lot like Allen. But you gotta run a little bit better routes. Get some plays that really get your guys open a little bit more. DeAndre Hopkins made an absolutely beautiful catch. Gorgeous catch. Up the right sideline for a touchdown. And I thought after that was kind of the dagger. I thought the Bills could get close. But I'm sitting there and I'm going, they need something special. And to their credit, Ed Oliver, who, by the way, had 1 sack, 6 tackles, solo tackles, and a forced fumble. And the veteran comes through. The pro comes through on the defensive line, forces the fumble. Buffalo recovers, and they're right back in the game. 3 missed 2-point conversions for Buffalo. They may not have even needed the field goal if they would have gotten one of them. Keon Coleman went out of bounds. I fully believe he was pushed. I don't think he went out there by himself. He was pushed, but with how the rule is now, doesn't matter. The interception, it's a 2-point try. You might as well. I mean, that whatever. And then Keon Coleman and Nate Wiggins. Man, I hope that battle goes on for the next 5-6 years. Nate Wiggins and Keon Coleman were all over each other. And Keon Coleman and Zay Flowers, welcome to being number ones on your team. Zay Flowers, 7 catches, 143 yards, and a touchdown. Keon Coleman, 8 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown on 11 targets. Zay Flowers had 9. That's number ones. Khalil Shakir, 6 catches, 64 yards. Josh Palmer, who I don't like the amount of money they gave him. You guys know this. 3 years, 36 seemed a little steep. 5 catches, 61. James Cook out of the backfield, 5 catches, 58. Kincaid, the tight end, 4 catches, 48. And of course, that gorgeous throw to Jackson Hawes. What a beautiful throw and catch. It was everything you want football to be. Everything. Amazing catches. Great tackles. Great pressure. Great scrambles. The one key turnover. The one. Changed the game. A game like this comes down to an inch. One fumble. In all those plays, one play really swung the momentum and the pendulum back the other way. Gosh darn it, I love football. Man, did that, it capped off everything you want football to be. And that leads us into the next part. Whew! It didn't start with Sunday night. It ended Sunday night. And we still have a game tonight. We don't know what the Bears and Vikings are going to be. This game could be a 9-6 absolute drudge. Or who knows, it could be 31-30. We'll have to find out. We don't know what it's going to be. But week 1 was outstanding. The amount of close games. I don't normally watch NFL Red Zone. I will be straight up honest with you. I don't normally watch NFL Red Zone. I had to yesterday. I had no choice. You had all these games. You had back and forth and back and forth. The Pittsburgh Steelers and New York Jets. The Steelers win it 34-32. I'm sitting there and I'm watching this game and I'm going, what the heck? The Jets look like a real team, even with Justin Fields. Garrett Wilson looks really, really good. Jalen Ramsey, for at least one game, paid off in the trade that they made for him. Because without his bone-jarring hit on Garrett Wilson on 4th down, I think the Jets go down and kick a field goal to win. It was thrilling. I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat. And then I'm watching the other game because the Saints and the Cardinals, I thought the Cardinals were going to roast them. And the Saints just hung around and hung around and hung around. And the Cardinals didn't put them away. And they're doing a game-ending drive trying to tie up the game. They're driving down the field. What is happening? And then the Buccaneers and Falcons, which, by the way, even in my pick, if you remember, I said it was going to be a thrilling game. Boy, was it. Emeka Egbuka, 2 touchdown catches. Michael Penix immediately driving the Falcons down the field, setting up a chance for setting up the game-tying field goal opportunity. And he made 2 outstanding sideline throws. Drake London being injured, I do believe affected it, but you can't worry about that in the NFL. And we're not going to hit the injuries today. I know I said it in the short, but we're not going to hit the injuries today. We're going to let the MRIs come out today. We'll address the injuries tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll talk about the injuries from week 1 because there were quite a few. There were quite a few, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. But you have the Buccaneers going down the field, the Falcons coming right back, and Koo just absolutely pushes the field goal. I'm used to hooks. I'm not used to these guys pushing the field goal to the other side. Like you got that field goal, and they're lined up over on the left hash so that they're almost in line with the field goal post on the left side, and they're pushing it to the other side of the right. I don't get it. I'm not a field goal kicker, and I don't want Pat McAfee mad at me. But I will say this. I don't get the new sentiment to put it always on the outside. So, whatever. But he misses it. Wide right. Buccaneers sneak one out. The San Francisco 49ers pulled out a thriller over the Seahawks. They sacked Sam Darnold to end that game, win that game 17-13. The Texans played the Rams about as tough as you could. They sacked Stafford 3 times. They had fumble recovery. The Texans defense is real. It is here. They're good at what they do. Jaden Higgins, I mean, really, the offense didn't get into a great rhythm because the Rams defense is just as good as what I said it was in the offseason. It was a battle of the defenses. The second half, the Texans could not score. They were up 9-7 at half. I believe the Texans are a team you will not want to face. I think the Texans absolutely, as that offensive line meshes together, gels together, this team, Stroud believes in that offensive line. 19-27, 188 yards. The running game's got to be a little bit better. Stroud did run. I want to give a lot of credit. There's been a lot of people that have gone after him because he doesn't run when he's able to. 5 rushes, 32 yards for a quarterback. That's good scramble right there. His long was 14 yards. It was absolutely a much better system, a much better setup on the road, out west, Los Angeles Rams team that has all their defense back, and it worked. It worked. Will Anderson had a sack. Fatukasi had a sack. Then you had Byron Young, Tyler Davis. Both of them had a sack. I mean, this was a great game. The sad part is they chose to show the Packers and the Lions, which was not a great game. The Packers, listen, I don't like the Lions offensive coordinator's play call. Jared Goff threw the ball 39 times. In what universe are you going to win with Jared Goff throwing the ball 39 times and you only ran the ball 22? Jahmyr Gibbs had 9 rushes. Montgomery had 11. The offensive line didn't move anybody. There is a legitimate concern about Detroit. And it really starts with the offensive line. They gave up 4 sacks. They never sacked Jordan Love. I mean, defensively, it was only 3.1 yards that they allowed per rush. It wasn't that they were bad. It's just it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So that game wasn't great. The Broncos and Texans, I hit that one. So for my locks for the odds, I actually went 3-0 and when it came to betting against the spread. I did go 3-0 because this game was at 8.5. It ended at 8. What did I notice about the Titans and the Broncos? Number one, the Titans are going to have to really take advantage. They did have a lot of drops. Cam Ward was 12 of 28 for 112. He was sacked 6 times. 6 times. He was under duress a lot. But then he also didn't have a bunch of help. There were a ton of drops. Alec Armar had a couple of bad drops. Even Calvin Ridley had some bad drops. But you can tell who he's comfortable with. Ridley, Chigakonkro, those two are going to be huge in this offense. I predicted them to lose. It's game number 1 of a rookie quarterback. I didn't think he looked bad at all. The Broncos were in the game. They intercepted Nix twice. They got a sack on Nix. They got a fumble. I mean, they played really, really well. The Titans are not going to be run over by everybody this year. They just won't. they won't be run over. I believe the Titans are a solid. They're like that kid that you look at and you go, they should be able to they should be able to do what they want to do, like an undersized center. You know how people looked at, all those 6'8", 6'9" centers back 20 years ago against all of those 7-foot tall oak trees? And they're like, they probably get pushed around. The Titans are going to be that 6'9" center that's just built. You're not moving him. It's not going to be easy. You can shoot over him. You can get over the top of them. You can try to go around them because you're going to be quicker. But they're built. You're not running through them. I fully believe in the Tennessee Titans. I fully believe in Cam Ward. Yesterday, watching that game, because it was one of the ones that was on here, watching that game, I knew what the drops would be, but then I saw where the growth is going to happen. And I said, when Thanksgiving comes around, you will not want to play the Titans because they are going to be a tough out. They may be a tough out before that. Tony Pollard, 18 carries, 60 yards. They didn't have as much of a commitment to the run as I would like to see for a rookie quarterback, but they never really got the offense fully going. I can't wait for them to come home and see what they do when they're at home. But then you had the Browns. Yes, the Brownies. And this one I got right. I had a 3-leg parlay when it came to the odds. Cleveland was my other one, plus 5.5. Cincinnati never starts out the year good. And it looked ugly. It looked horrible. And the Browns almost beat them week number 1, and they have no business beating them. The Browns had 49 rushing yards total. They averaged 2 yards a carry. 24 rushes, 49 rushing yards. They averaged 2 yards a carry and almost beat the Bengals. I'm sorry. They probably should be called the Bungles. I mean, Joe Burrow was 14 of 23. 14 of 23. This offensive line is a mess, and I don't see them getting much better. I don't. Joe Flacco, 31 of 45. Good old Joe. 290 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. I mean, gosh. What a wild Sunday. What a wild Sunday. I was so happy last night. Man, was I so happy last night. After watching everything, starting with the Eagles and Cowboys game on Thursday night, the Chiefs and Chargers game on Friday, the college football games on Saturday, which we'll talk about here in a second, and then Sunday's games. Wow. All right, here we are. 9:30. It's time for the 10,000-foot view of sports. Let's take a break from football, as we do have another sport that the playoffs are ramping up into. Actually, we have 2 sports. The WNBA and Major League Baseball. Let's cover the WNBA real fast. Last night, the Fever knocked off the Mystics in outstanding fashion. 94-65. That really, really helps their playoff chances. They came out with a 32-point fourth quarter. And everybody on the team that was healthy played. Only one person, Bree Hall, did not score. You had 94 points between 10 players. That is called team basketball, my friends. That is what any coach can be happy with. Then we had the Los Angeles Sparks getting a huge win over the Dallas Wings. by outscoring the Wings 25-13 in the fourth quarter, 91-77. So the Sparks still trying to stay alive in the playoff race, and then the Las Vegas Aces again get a victory. Again, 80-66. That is their 14th win in a row for the Las Vegas Aces. Yes. WNBA, 14th win in a row. Big. All right. So right now in the playoff standings, the Fever are now 7th at 23-20. The Valkyries are 6th at 23-19. The Storm are 8th at 22-21. The Sparks are now 20-22. And this week ends, remember, Thursday, the 11th, is the last day to play. Today we have the Connecticut Sun at the Atlanta Dream. The Atlanta Dream are still fighting for second place with the Aces right now. But they could fall to fourth because the Mercury are only a half game behind them. So, WNBA, been following it all year. Been betting on it all year too. There's a lot of different positioning and moving around. Do I think the Fever can do a lot without Clark and with that? No, I don't. Which is unfortunate because this team being 23-20 with all the injuries they've had gives a lot of hope for the future. But the Minnesota Lynx are still the best, 33-9 in the WNBA. All right. So let's move to baseball because the playoff race, we're sitting now. We've got some really big series that happened this week. Very big series that happened this week. So the New York Yankees took 2 of 3 from the Toronto Blue Jays. That was huge. They are now only 2 games back of the division lead in the AL East. The Dodgers, who have struggled just as much as the Padres at this point, are only 1 game in front of the Padres now. One. The Padres and the Dodgers are both 3-7 in their last 10. Both of them 3-7 in their last 10. Now, over the weekend, it actually went really south for the Mets. The Mets are now 7 games back of the Phillies in the National League East. In their last 10, they've gone 4-6, and the Phillies have gone 7-3. That is not what they needed because their huge 4-game series starts today. Phillies and Mets 4-game series starts today. Now, if the Mets could sweep them, that'll be 4 games they gain back in. I don't know if the Phillies are going to let that happen, but the Mets play the Phillies really well. So it's possible. It's very possible. The NL Central is basically done. The Cubs absolutely bombed it. I am sick. They have bombed this. It is not their pitching. It is their hitting. Their hitting has failed them. It has failed them consistently. It's been a problem. Get your heads out of your butts, guys. I mean, good gosh. I don't think the pitching could be any better. All these close, low-run games against teams that have no business beating you. You lost to the Rockies. You lost to the Nationals. I mean, you lost 2 in a row to the Nationals. You should be sweeping the Nationals, sweeping the Rockies, sweeping the Braves. Although the Braves, to be fair, did make life hard on the Seattle Mariners this past weekend. So Seattle knows a little bit about the Braves right now. But nonetheless, so setting up this week, here we go. The series this week. Kansas City at Cleveland is a huge series for them. Mets at Philadelphia, huge series. Brewers at Rangers, ginormous series. A sneaky series to watch is the Reds at the Padres. The Dodgers have Colorado for this first 3-game series. The Dodgers have them. So you're not necessarily as worried about the Dodgers right now losing to Colorado. They could, but San Diego's got to keep pace with the Dodgers. Now, let's go to Friday. What do we have on tap? Because obviously, like I said, we're not going to be talking a ton of baseball except for when we do this segment. So this weekend is when you start the Dodgers and Giants and the Yankees and Red Sox. That is this weekend, starting on Friday. With that, you also have the Rangers at the Mets. So if the Mets can get by the Phillies, then the Rangers, who are trying to make the playoffs, come into town. So it doesn't get any easier. It does not get any easier. All right. Listen, baseball's still around. And baseball's still fun. And the laundry buzzer just went off. I started a load of laundry before I came in here. I just heard the buzzer go off. I'll get it after we're done. All right. So, what's next? Well, we got to talk some college football. Because there is one team that is currently 2-0 against top 25 ranked teams. The South Florida Bulls. The South Florida Bulls get another W. They beat Boise State opening week. And then on Saturday, knocked off Florida in the Swamp. And, buddy, woo! I don't know what to make of South Florida. I really don't. They are playing so hard. And now, get this. They are a top 25 ranked matchup on Saturday, now against the Hurricanes. Think about this. In any given year, if I tell you you're going to open with Boise State, Florida, and Miami, Florida, what do you think the record's going to be for a team that's roughly about a 3-star college football program? You're probably not guessing 2-1 or 3-0. Just taking a wild shot in the dark. That's probably not what you're guessing. But doggone it, South Florida looks good. Now, I don't know what Florida is. They were one of those teams. They were a sleeper team to be able to watch. It was not about, anything else as far as, they did have some seniors coming back. There is skill on the Florida side. But this is not Urban Meyer. This is not Steve Spurrier. These are not those Gators right now. But South Florida's got a defense that absolutely goes after everybody. And I love how they play. I absolutely love how they play. Obviously, as we go on this week, we'll have the the previews for the big college football games. Huge props to the Bulls. And then the Iowa State game. What a game. Wow. 16-13, Iowa State knocks off Iowa at home. If it was in Kinnick, it's going to go the other way. What a battle. What a game. Baylor, SMU, double overtime, missed field goal kick on one side, kicked the field goal to win on the other. We had games like that all freaking weekend, guys. We had outstanding football this weekend. And it was with relatively, especially for college football, a cupcake slate. And we still had great games. I mean, Kentucky was all over Ole Miss. Kentucky was absolutely all over Ole Miss most of the game. It was great. Illinois ends up knocking off Purdue. Troy gave Clemson, this was the shock. Troy gave Clemson all they could handle. They were up 16-3 over Clemson at halftime. Yeah, you heard me right. 16-3. Troy was beating Clemson 16-3 at halftime. But this is why we play 4 quarters, not 2. Just saying. And it was still a decent day of college football. Now, full admission, and I know I will mention this and I will probably put it on the podcast sometime this week. This weekend, I'm not going to be watching college football. And I have a very good reason why. On Saturday, here in Indianapolis, we have Freedom Fest, and there is a ginormous motorcycle ride. I will have the GoPro hooked up on the bike, so I will post it to the channel when we're done riding. And obviously, after you get home and get everything done, I'll render everything. So I'll probably post it on Sunday, sometime in the middle of the day, so it doesn't, collide with the pics or anything else. But there is a huge 9/11 memorial ride, and there's over 300 bikes registered already, and it's not even till Saturday. I know that my wife and I are riding in it. We'll probably have 1 or 2 of the kids will be riding with us, and the group that we're with, they'll be riding in it. It's a huge thing, and I am super excited to be a part of it. And could I watch football on my phone while I'm riding? Absolutely. Could I listen to it? Absolutely. I won't be that day. We've got a ceremony that'll take place at the 9/11 Memorial in downtown Indianapolis. And I am really, really looking forward to this. It's been on our calendar for a while, and it just kind of been building up. And then we were talking about it with some, guys. I know we've got at least 10 to 15 friends that are in our group that are going to go together. So I'm excited about it. So Saturday, I won't be watching a ton of college football. I'll catch the late games, but I won't catch the earlier games because I'm going to be riding and I'm going to be in Freedom Fest, and I will I got the GoPro and I will share with you guys. So that'll be my Saturday. But Saturday does have top 25 matchups. It's got big matchups on it. And it's got question games matchups. I'll give you one. Wisconsin against Alabama. Alabama loses in a really bad way to Florida State. They come back and look really good against University of Louisiana Monroe. Yeah, that was my thought too. Okay. So that's where we're at. Wisconsin is not considered a top Big Ten team right now, but they are 2-0, and Alabama is not. Wisconsin is big. They're still big. That hasn't changed. I want to see Alabama play Wisconsin. It's one of those games I am really intrigued with. Alabama could roast them by 30, or they could lose by 3. If this is a game, there are some question games. Clemson at Georgia Tech. That's a question game. Clemson barely knocks off Troy. Can they go into Georgia Tech? Can they go into Atlanta and beat Tech? Tech looks really strong right now. This is question week. These teams have to answer questions. Is Miami real? Or is South Florida going to go 3-0? We're going to have all those previews on Thursday, like normal. And we'll absolutely get into that. All right. Let's get back to the NFL. Let's close this out. We got 15 minutes. Let's close this out the way it should. So, what are the big takeaways from yesterday? Well, number one, My picks for the week number 1 actually isn't as bad as past weeks. I went 3-5 in my picks this week. I went 3-0 against the spread, but I went 3-5 in picking winners losers. I did have a lot of underdogs. Falcons were underdogs. Bills were underdogs. Seahawks were underdogs. And Texans were underdogs. So I am, as you guys know, I am the underdog. I like the underdog. But looking at how those games played out, Seahawks game-winning drive foiled by a sack. Falcons missed field goal to tie. Texans play the Rams tough. I'll take it. I'll take a 3-5 week 1, especially with the fact that I got the Bills right after that great game last night. So week number 1, 3-5. That's all right. We'll bounce back. It's only pick 6 from here on out. It won't be pick 8 just because of how the weekend goes. It'll only be pick 6. So what are some of the big takeaways? Number 1, the Detroit Lions, especially, they've got to work on their offensive coordinator and how the game plan is going to play out. The New England Patriots and Raiders game, I was watching more because I wanted to see who was going to be ready more. I don't like that the Patriots threw the ball 46 times. I don't like that you throwing the ball 46 times. He's year number 2. Drake May, I love Drake May. It's year number 2, but first game in a brand new system with Josh McDaniels. And you're going to throw the ball 46 times. And it's not like they were out of the game. They were leading 10-7 at half. They're only down 17-10 at the end of the third quarter. It's not like the Patriots were out of the game where they had to throw. They spent money on the offensive line. They drafted the best tackle, in my opinion, on the offensive line. Travion Henderson only had 5 carries, 27 yards. They ran the ball only 18 times for 60 yards, 3.3 average. The thing is, on the other side, it wasn't much better. The Raiders ran 24 times for 56 yards. Ashton Jeanty did get his first rushing touchdown. Congratulations to him. Travion Henderson did have 24 yards out of the backfield. I said it. He's actually running back number 1. Now they got the Patriots have the Dolphins next week, which I think is great for them. Because they're going to look at what the Colts did, and that's what we're going to get to next. They're going to look at what the Colts did and be like, all right, so Henderson, listen, out of the backfield, dump off, go. Diggs, get the cross routes. Kyle Williams, cross the other way. Like, the reality is, I love where both of these teams are. Both teams had 4 sacks. It was a great day for defense. Both teams had 4 sacks. Weather wasn't outstanding. But you know what? It was really good. It was really good. I'm excited for both teams for the future. Week 1 isn't going to hurt you. The only game in week 1, I guess there's 2. 2 games in week 1 that could change stuff when it comes to January. Lions and Packers and Bills and Ravens. I really think those are the 2 games that will actually potentially have an effect in January. No, I still don't believe in the 49ers. Did you see how bad that team looked? The Seahawks screwed up more than the 49ers did what was right. The Seahawks defense broke coverage. Mike McDonald is going to be all over them this week. Next week, I would play the Seahawks defense if you're in fantasy because he's going to light a fire under their butts after what they did in the broken coverages there. But their run defense, my gosh, is it stout. And McCaffrey does not have a burst anymore. He does not have the same burst. That was ultimately clear yesterday. But let's finish this off. I did this when Jim Irsay passed away. And yesterday he was inducted into the Ring of Honor. Peyton Manning is now a co-owner of the Indianapolis Colts as it needed to happen. It needed to happen. The way I did pick in the game. Sorry, I'm just thinking about how the game made me feel because they showed I was able to go back and watch the halftime. And regardless of, and I said this when it happened, regardless of morality standards or views or your beliefs, Jim Irsay definitely had a lot of things that went sideways in his life. There's no doubt about that. There's no questioning that. But he also did try to do as much good as he possibly could. And there are a lot of people like that get dismissed in this world. Because of all the bad, they just get dismissed. The only time you don't get dismissed is when you're a billionaire and you're giving your money away. Then everybody is, you kind of get noticed a little bit more. In my life, I have only been around for the Jim Irsay Colts. And it was a great ceremony. The shirts were awesome. I put one on Amazon to be able to buy. The shirts were awesome. They've got a guitar that was specially made. And each week a different player will get the guitar and come out of the tunnel with the guitar. It's got Jim Irsay's name etched in it. Beautiful Colts. I mean, it's a gorgeous guitar. Absolutely gorgeous guitar. It was gifted to the Indianapolis Colts in honor of Jim Irsay. Manning was there. The legends were there. And you know what? I said it in my picks. I think because of the emotion, because they knew what yesterday meant, they came out on fire. The Colts came out extremely focused. They came out overly aggressive, more aggressive than I've seen them play in the last 3 years. And they won. They destroyed the Dolphins 33-8. Now, I did say the Dolphins weren't a really good defense. Obviously, all that is still true. But what I saw yesterday really was something special. And I've said this before, and when you go back, you look. And you see how things play out. From adversity, effort and destiny can arise. One of my favorite football movies is We Are Marshall. No, it's not my favorite story. It's one of my favorite movies. Obviously, it's, Hollywood up, But one of the things about We Are Marshall that is different, they didn't win. Think about that for a second. Marshall won that game, but they didn't win. It was a losing team. It was a losing season for years. It wasn't about being a winner. It wasn't about the consecutiveness. It was about just getting the win. I equate that to this for this reason. I don't know if the Colts are going to look that good ever again this year. I don't know. Daniel Jones was on fire. He could, very rarely did he throw a bad ball. It looked amazing. The defense was playing with absolute abandon, reckless abandon. It was great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But yesterday was for Jim. I don't know if they ever look that good again. They got the Broncos next week. What are they going to look like? I don't know. Next week, I said in college, is question weekend. Honestly, it's the same for some when it comes to the NFL. Next week is question weekend. Was week 1 a fluke? Was week 1 what we can expect? Couple teams we hadn't touched on today because they were relative favorites. The Jaguars took care of business against the Panthers. The Panthers looked bad. The Commanders knocked off the Giants in the division game. And the Giants are already non-committal on a quarterback for week number 2 against the Cowboys. It's that simple. So week 2, we got college football week 3 and week 2 of the NFL. It's question week. Is what we saw this week reality? Was it smoke? But I'm going to let the Colts game stand how it is. They played the best game I have seen the Indianapolis Colts play in probably 10 years. I have not seen a Colts team play a game that inspired for a very long time. And honestly, it was fun to watch. I did not ever think yesterday, how are they going to screw this up? The first game, all last year, I'm going, what are they going to screw up? Yesterday, I never had a thought, how are they going to screw this up? They looked focused, and it was for Jim Irsay. That win was for Jim Irsay. And he deserves it. Regardless of everything else. He built this franchise. He gave this city a team to be able to latch onto when the Pacers went through the Malice in the Palace and ended up just being awful because of, I don't know what the owners were thinking at that time. We got rid of the entire team because we didn't want any of this, the stigma of, the Malice being on the team anymore, and that was a huge mistake. But the Colts made this town a football town. It's a basketball town too. Don't get me wrong, but it's football. The Colts are now Indianapolis. They used to be owned by Reggie Miller and the Pacers. Peyton Manning stole it from Reggie. And when Reggie left, Peyton continued the torch of being an icon in this city. And we need another one. We need another one. I don't know who it is. Don't ask me who it is. I don't know. But we need somebody else to pick up this franchise and move on. Tyrese Halliburton's doing it with the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton is doing it with the Pacers. He was the guy. He gets injured. We make the NBA Finals, for gosh sakes. If he's in that game, I still fully believe we win. We had him. Hallie was rolling. So the reality is, yesterday was for Jim. Next week we'll find out what they really are. And next week is going to be question week. We're going to answer some questions across the board in next week's schedule. All right, guys, that's Monday. That is Monday. Like I said, we will go over the injury report tomorrow. I'm watching all of them as they pop up right now. So we'll go over all the injuries, all the key injuries that happen. We'll go over some of what's going to happen. I guess, you know what? I'll give you my pick for tonight. This isn't an official pick that I'm grading, but Here's what I think is going to happen tonight. I don't know about J.J. McCarthy. Everything I have read, everything that I have been told, everything that has come out about McCarthy has not been great. The ones from the inner circle haven't been great. Caleb Williams looked better in game number 2, didn't really look good anywhere else. My thought is this game's going to start out potentially really slow. This game could look like the Ohio State-Texas game. That's my comparison. This game could look a lot like Ohio State-Texas. Both coaches trying to make sure their quarterbacks don't lose the game until you get to the fourth quarter where you have to win the game. It could be a really slow game. The defensive lines for both teams are amazing. There may not be any running room. I don't know. I really don't know. I think the Bears at home, their offensive line is weaker than the Vikings' offensive line. I like Flores, but the Bears are sneaky. Now, Johnson may be out tonight. The Bears do have some injuries. And the point spread is only 1.5. So this is really just a pick'em game. Vegas doesn't know where to go either. I'm going to go. I said the weakest part of the Bears was kicker. Do they really miss a field goal to win the game tonight? Do the Vikings just pull it out because they've just got a little bit better defensive line against the Bears' offensive line? I don't like the quarterback, but if it's going to be a drag-out game, do I trust the Vikings kicker or the Bears kicker more? I really want to pick the Bears. I really do. I really want to pick the Bears. But I think this could be a really tough spot opening up against Brian Flores. Screw it. Why not? It's not an official pick. Let's go Bears. Bears with a game-winning field goal. And if Santos does hit it, all of Chicago will be probably at church tomorrow. Because that isn't normal. Because that's not normal. They're not used to field goals going in to win games. Oh, man. All right, guys. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your Monday. Thank you so much for hanging out, as always. Tomorrow we'll go over injuries. We'll go over the Monday night game. Hopefully there's stuff to go over, and it doesn't take only 60 seconds to recap the game. But either way, we'll have fun again tomorrow. We're off for 23 hours, and we'll be back tomorrow. Make it the best Monday you can. I will talk to you tomorrow, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will chat with you guys in a little bit. For Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great day.